react the same way and we expect that life will be better? No, not at all. So, but something gave me some hope. Yes. Like NIDO is, I'm not partisan. I just want a better Nigeria because I've been out of the country and I've seen how things work elsewhere. So what is so impossible for us to do same in Nigeria? This year, I said, okay, given the fact that we have social media, and social media have played a very important role in our communities, in our social system. So I thought, this may help. And in fact, it did help a bit. When people came around and at first they were condemning issues on the social media that, I don't mind them, they are social media people. But even then, you could see the good work of social media. Of course, there's all kinds of conflicting stories. You find it difficult to pull the grain from the shaft, but we still had some hope. Beyond that, I thought that we had gone to a level of education where we'll be able to do some critical analysis of situations and go beyond looking at faces, go beyond looking at tribes, go beyond looking at who gives me more money.
Yes.
We thought so until the end, until February 25. And it looked like we have not really learned our lesson. So that really bothered me. But there was progress made because even people that they wrote off as non-entities, they only appear on video and all that, made some impact.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not, they made some impact. To think of the kind of languages some of our people who are contesting for elections, the kind of languages they used for their opponents or for those who are contesting with them, I started asking myself, have we really learned anything? When I heard people who are contesting for election never focus on the issues, they focus on personalities.
Yes.
And I said, we still have a long way to go. There's still some education to do amongst us. It may not come immediately, but I think we're on the right path. Unfortunately, what has happened now, I keep hearing that the umpire agrees that there were some flaws. And yet, we went ahead and made a declaration, even after accepting. I don't care who wins, but accept that there are flaws and deal with those flaws before you make definitive declarations. That was where my problem was.
I agree with you, Sal, but I wanted to go back to a key point that you said, which I think is not only vital for Nigeria, but vital for Africa. You said a key thing, which is you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. That's insanity, madness. So we've been living in a state of madness for a long time. Going to my follow-up question of what you just said, they said, oh, we've spent millions. Nobody's talking about, there should be sanctions. Some people should be prosecuted for what really happened, in my opinion, because you cannot state that we've spent, this amount of the budget to come up with a BVAS electronic system. If it's truly electronic, as people are casting, the thing is uploading to a portal and we can see it live, just like they did in Kenya and in other countries' election. That did not happen. And I knew that it would not happen, Sad, because just like you said, going back to your comments, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. We didn't even fix the foundational issue. You said you've lived in Costa Rica, you've lived in the U.S., you've worked and lived and traveled, I'm sure, to different continents all over the world. Even in some of the poorest countries, I've been to Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, they have stable electricity. When I was there, electricity did not blink. How can you say that a BVAS system is going to work when there's electricity scarcity, there's cash scarcity, there's fuel scarcity? The environment is not even set up. The foundation is already cracked. So how can you say an electronic system that BVAS, oh, they invested a lot of time and efforts and they promised us. So in this coming gubernatorial election that's coming up this Saturday, how do we know it's not going to be the same thing? We know it's not going to be, because the infrastructural problem has never been solved. So how can we hold these officials accountable? Just like you said we're bipartisan. It's not necessarily who is there. What we want are better leaders and a better Nigeria. We know that 1 + 1 = 2. But when you get some of these politicians, it's like 1 + 1 = 11. You know, they try to make a formula that is not a formula into their formula. And when it's bad, nobody says the right thing. So even from the beginning, that's why I said that, you know, when somebody's lying to you, when even the setup, the structure was already faulty, the foundation, even when if you don't build a house on a solid foundation, if you build it, it's gonna fall. So it was built on a faulty foundation. You don't even have stable electricity. So how are you going to depend at the state, at the local, and at the federal level for this online portal to even work? You give some of these INEC officials tablets, iPads. They need internet. they need electricity to upload it into the portal. This is no rocket science. They didn't have that. Some people were using their flashlights on their phone. They had to go back doing the manual paper. That's how we should have already sounded the alarm there. Like, wait, either you guys stop this or postpone the election and do it right, you know, or we need to hold these people accountable that got millions of dollars to create this system without, number one, before you even try to implement the BVAS system, we're supposed to address the infrastructure problem of electricity, sir. So how come, you know, so that's my follow-up question to you, sir, is that these foundational issues, you said life, you know, liberty, food, you know, these are basic things that we need. We need electricity to function properly, but we don't have it in Nigeria. And many poor countries that are poorer than us. Nigeria is the richest and the most populated, but the richest African country out of 54 in Africa. This is not just a disgrace to Nigeria and us in the diaspora. This is a disgrace to Africa, and this is a disgrace. Everybody from all over the world was watching this election, sir. So how can we move forward from this, especially as we're leading to another one on Saturday? That's why my heart really hurts, and that's why you are just wonderful, because you took us from the beginning of time, when before independence, when we got independence, your first election that you experienced in 1960, all the way to the different military coups, and where we are now in 2023, which is a vital time, you know, to really change the trajectory of Nigeria. Over to you, sir.
I agree, Dr. Tomi, 100% with what you've said. In fact, in my mind, from my opinion, I would have preferred that the election was postponed from scratch. I mean, I just can't imagine. Along with what you said, I lived in Swaziland, University of Swaziland. We had light 24/7. Small Swaziland. I lived in South Africa. Then we had light 24/7. So, and these are countries that, if we had our senses right, as we say back home in Delta State, they wouldn't even see our brake lights.
Never.
Those countries, they wouldn't even see our brake lights, because we have the